Wow, what a time to be alive. And I tell you what, sports will always be that distraction for the world. And the eyes of the world are now looking on Tokyo for the 20th edition of the World Athletics Championships. My name, Donald Oliver. It's been a minute, hasn't it? But it's good to be here. And it's good that you've joined us for our podcast as we take a look, this particular show, looking ahead to the World Championships. And we will be with you for the next 10 days or so as we take a look at what Jamaica's athletes are doing these World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. Have a stellar lineup with me, and I'm pleased that they're here with us in studio at the Jamaica Observer. Leighton Levy, of course, veteran journalist, and he knows everything there is to know about track and field and sport and life in general, of course. And it's good that he's here with us. Leighton, how are you doing?
I'm good. When you live long enough, you learn some of these things.
That is true, and he's been around for a very, very long time. Right beside him, Mr. Sean McGowan. Trish.
Hi, Wagwan.
But there, you alright?
Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm more than alright. It's a track and field again.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Danielle Blake is also here with us. Cool, calm, almost reserved. Everything alright?
Yeah, great to be here with my elders.
Wow.
Well, that you know, what? I'm not even gonna be.
Shade so early.
Listen,
It's crazy.
I never find age to be a shade though.
No,
because
that's what I'm saying.
Listen,
I am very happy to be here
I
with
don't say
such
no.
experienced people.
it's a privilege to
It
age,
is
you
a
know.
privilege.
It's a privilege, you
It
know,
is a
because
privilege.
guess what?
Mm.
God forbid, one of us drop down now. You know what I'm gonna say? Gone too soon. He had so much more to give.
Yes.
She had so much more to give.
Uh-huh.
Right? That's always a thing.
That's always the thing.
So I tell him, I said, I'm happy to be around.
I tell you what, we have
Yeah.
so much to give for today as we preview what's going to be happening over the next few days. But before we get into the discussion, we have to link up with our man on location in Tokyo, Andre Lowe. Andre, talk to me about the trip, because I know that you've traveled the world on so many occasions, but what was the trip like heading to Tokyo? What was it like for you?
Konnichiwa. Welcome to Japan, Donald, and of course, greetings to everybody back home, everybody in the studio. Yeah, I actually was in Tokyo a few years ago for the Olympic Games, and to be honest, it wasn't too bad getting here, if you can say that about a 20-hour flight, not including or not counting layovers and so forth. But no, it hasn't been too bad. But we're here now, and we're ready to cover as best as we can these 2025 Tokyo World Championships.
All right, so we're on the eve of competition now. I just want to have an idea what the vibe in the camp is like. I know that they had the setup, of course, in Totori, but what's it like over there?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, as you can see behind me, it's raining, right? And we have been actually experiencing afternoon showers for the past 2 days here in Tokyo. But the vibe in the Jamaican camp is extremely bright. And by all accounts, the camp in Totori seems to have gone over very well with all the athletes, all the coaches, all the support staff. We have heard about the hospitality of the Japanese. The facilities there were, by all accounts, in top shape. And the athletes have spoken a lot about the kind of work they've been able to, go through and get done in Totori. Everybody seems to be in really high spirits. As you know, it's a very balanced team. So we do have some experience, but there are a lot of youngsters, a lot of athletes who are competing at their first championships, and there's a really strong camaraderie. And from my experience, and I've been to quite a few World Championships, quite a few Olympic Games, this seems to be one of the closest teams in terms of just the camaraderie, and it's left to be seen, how that's going to translate on the track when competition starts on Saturday.
I know that you had an exclusive interview with Usain Bolt, and it was in the Jamaica Observer just a couple of days ago. Bolt actually reiterated national pride, and I'll quote exactly what he said. Everybody knows I rep Jamaica through and through, and of course he's talking about players' allegiance. That has been the topic of discussion for the last few weeks, months, really, as everybody knows the news about a few of our athletes defecting. Well, they're now going to be representing Turkey. Here's what Bolt said. Everybody knows I rep Jamaica through and through, and at no point in my career I even thought about running for any other country. However, each athlete has to do what I think is best for them and their family. Now, Andre, he was unequivocal with that response. We're a little bit surprised as to how straightforward he gave that response.
Usain has always been quite forthright in my experience with him. And I know it's a really hot button topic for a lot of people across the track and field world, and certainly in countries like Jamaica, which have been affected, by this transfer of allegiance rule. We were told that this is an issue that will be raised at Congress by the J3s. That is currently ongoing at this point, so we haven't quite heard or had a chance to hear from the J3's officials just yet about that. But yeah, no surprises that Usain was as forthright with his response. And this has been what we have heard from most people so far. Everybody has to make a personal decision when it comes to who they choose to represent. And you're going to consider your family. And for some people, that is the most important thing. But for others, they might be in a different position, and they can say, we're going to stick it out with our country. Clearly, you're seeing both situation and that of a lot of the guys from Jamaica who have transferred allegiance, not quite the same. But there are a lot of others who are also not among the highest earners in the world that have decided that, listen, no matter what, they are going to stick with their country. So it's certainly something that will continue to dominate, I think, discussions here. And it's hard to see this Congress coming to an end without some sort of resolution from World Athletics. I think at this point it's quite critical that some intervention takes place.
The 400-meter hurdler, Russell Clayton, pulled out of the championships because of injury. And of course, Sanique Walker was unable to take up her spot. I just want you to put into context exactly what took place in regards to that story for us.
Right, yeah. Tough situation, tough break. Very unfortunate for Sanique, who has had a pretty solid season. Let's not forget that just a few weeks ago, she was competing in the Bahamas, won silver at the NACAC Championships, and she was home, ready, waiting, preparing to come here in Tokyo to replace Russell Clayton, who, of course, as we reported some time ago, was forced to withdraw from these championships after failing to recover in time from a persistent heel injury that she has been dealing with, right? So the situation is this, and I spoke to her a few hours ago. She believes that this was an oversight by the J3s. She was not given an opportunity to do the SRY gene testing. That is a new requirement from World Athletics for all female athletes competing at these championships. Of course, the latest in the World Athletics efforts to, secure the credibility of women track and field. So she was in Bahamas. She stated that quite a few athletes in the Jamaican camp at the Bahamas were given an opportunity to take the SRY gene test, but she was not. However, we should point out that the J3s, in a release some time ago, did make arrangements and did inform members of the track and field, the pool of athletes, where they could go and take these tests individually. So, certainly there was some oversight, perhaps on both ends, but in an event, quite unfortunate for Sanique and for Jamaica, because now we will have just two athletes in the women's 400-meter hurdles, and we wish the best to Antoinette Knight and, of course, Cheyenne Salmon.
The Paris Olympics, of course, it wasn't the best experience, was it? Because the Jamaican team picked up 1 gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze medals. Do you sense that the camp feels that it has a lot to prove this time around in Tokyo?
Yeah, and by the way, I must apologize if it seems a bit dark. It's quite overcast here right now, right? But yeah, Donald, you are correct. Paris 2024 was not the happiest hunting ground for the Jamaican athletes. But let's not forget that a year earlier in Budapest, the team actually did pretty well as far as medals are concerned. And this year, there's cautious confidence, a lot of optimism among the coaches and some of the athletes and management staff that I've spoken to, that Tokyo 2025 will produce a lot of medals, very good performances by the Jamaican athletes. Let's not forget, too, that a lot of them come into these championships in really good form. And the feeling is, if they can execute on the day, then, we could see, a nice double-figure medal return coming back to Jamaica. Now, that could all start on, the opening 2 days with the men's 100 meters and the women's 100 meters. And Coach Wilson did point out that in the past, when the team has done really well, it's kind of feeding from, the platform provided by the sprinters in the first 2 or 3 days. And there's a feeling that if our sprinters deliver what we expect them to, then the team can really benefit from that boost and, go on to do really good things here in Tokyo. And it's looking good. Everybody seems confident. The vibe is good. I'm at the training track right here at the OIS Stadium here in Tokyo, and everybody seems in really good mood, and it's left to be seen if that's going to translate on the track as far as their performances are concerned.
All right, Andre, thanks very much. And spend a little time to enjoy the atmosphere. You mentioned that it's raining there, and I can tell. But enjoy yourself in Tokyo, and looking forward to all the stories that you'll send to us.
Thank you, Donald. No problem, guys. Just want to implore our viewers to continue staying with the Jamaica Observer on all platforms. We're here, and we'll be, of course, doing all we can to provide a 360-degree coverage of these 2025 Tokyo World Athletics Championships. All right, talk to you later, guys.
All right, Andre Lohr, man on location in Tokyo, as he'll be dropping in all the stories and sending us all the interviews as we look ahead to the next few days, these World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. Ladies, gentlemen, just to go into the discussion here, and I'm going to start with what Andre, we left with in that discussion with him about the camp having a lot to prove this time around. Do you get that feeling, Leighton, that these athletes have a lot to prove in the aftermath of what took place in Paris?
Yeah, Paris was...
An anomaly?
No, it's not really, because 2017 World Championships, Jamaica only had won 4 medals in London.
Mm-hmm.
These things will happen because for a population our size, you're looking at a situation where there is moments when things will dip naturally.
Mm-hmm.
It's the natural flow of how things are in sports. Cyclists come and cyclists go. I think what happened in Paris last year is a combination of a lot of factors, some of which we won't get into here. But I think for these championships, I believe that there is an opportunity, and I think that's more what it feels like to me. Oblique Seville in Paris had an injury in the 100-meter finals. For him, this is an opportunity for redemption. He's been demonstrating that he's ready to perform well. Jamaica lost, of course, the Olympic gold medalist in the discus. Ralford Mullings steps in a big way, breaks national record that was been around since 2019, I think it was, throwing 72 meters. He's an immediate replacement. He will want to fulfill that standard that Roger Stone has set last year.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Jamaica doesn't have a shot putter to replace Rajinder Campbell, but people like Jordan Scott has an opportunity to then show that Jamaica still has an opportunity to medal in a triple jump, because Jaden Hibbert is not going to be able to participate. And of course, Wayne Pinnock, you're having Tajia Gale, the 2019 world champion, and Kieran McLeod, who will be looking to set his own name, put his own name into the lights.
Yeah.
So it's more opportunity, I think, more than the expectation of, erasing what happened in Paris last year. I think it's more opportunity for some of these athletes to come through and establish themselves as the next generation of stars to come through.
I think that, I agree with Leighton, but and where many would have been left disappointed for Paris last year, I think it's for the track events. The field event athletes stepped up in a massive way. And we should have been, not you and I, but a lot of people, as you know, whenever we're not, ripping and getting all the medals on the track, it's like, oh my gosh, we didn't do well. No, the team did exceptional, based on all the variables that we were faced with, and the field event athletes came forward. I think Stephen Francis said it best when I interviewed him back in 2022, when I asked him about the departure of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Elaine Thompson-Era. And he said if they were not leaving, it would not afford others to have the opportunity to step up. And which is why I agree with Leighton that I don't think there's nothing to prove regarding from last year's Olympic Games, but more, it's a new season. And that's how every coach and every athlete see this championship. What happened last year is already a year ago, literally a year ago. It's a new platform and a new opportunity, and I think that they're looking forward to doing great things.
So because of that, not a lot of expectations or pressure of expectation,
I think there's always pressure of expectations, but I don't think that there is much to prove. And I think the key word is opportunity. I obviously know that Shelly and Shericka would not have wanted their 2024 to go like that. And if they had gotten gold, we probably would say, wow, Paris was a success.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it wasn't. But those two athletes are arguably two of our greatest sprinters to come out of our country. So they don't necessarily have anything to prove, but they do have an opportunity to essentially mark their names in a different way. So Shelly, knowing that this is her last World Championships, can I go out there and prove to the world that, well, not necessarily prove, but to show that I still have it at this age.
Still have one more in me,
Yeah.
Shericka Jackson, who we know at her very best is a 10-6 runner and a 21-4 runner in the 200. She will go out there and say, hey, if I was fully fit last year, I could have done something. So I think it's just about opportunity. Kishane Thompson knowing that he just missed out last year in the 100. And we have a number of other athletes who would want to go out there and just get the opportunity to show the world what we're capable of.
Who tells Shelly to retire though? She's there in the individual event at 38 years. Oh, we know she don't want to look a race.
Yeah, the thing about it with Shelly for me, I think what Tokyo presents for Shelly is the opportunity to finish on her own terms.
Yes.
Last year at the Olympics, there was an unfortunate gate incident where she was not allowed in.
Right.
Yeah.
The warm-up didn't go as well as she wanted, had these cramps just before call time, and she wasn't able to make it to the final. So a very difficult period for her.
Yeah.
This time now, she's healthier.
Yeah.
So I think for her...
Mentally and physically.
Yeah. And I think for her, I'm sure she's going there thinking that she wants to win a medal. However, I think if she just gets to the final and competes and be competitive in the final, I think that would be something that she'd be satisfied with, because she'd be leaving on her own terms.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to hear from Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, because she actually spoke to the media today, and in particular, our very own Andre Lowe. Let's hear what she has to say on the eve of competition at the World Athletics Championships.
I am just really grateful to be here in this moment, because I've said it before, like I've passed probably the hardest part, which was making the national team. So being here is such a huge blessing, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to be here and to compete. I think this is going to be an exciting championship, mostly because I'm in a good space. I think mentally I'm good. Our training has been fantastic, and I'm just looking forward to putting the pieces together.
How happy are you with your preparation up to this point? How good do you feel going into the first
I
round?
feel good going into the championship, as I said before, and going into the first round tomorrow. I think for me, what the opportunity that presents itself is to execute the first round. And once you execute the first round and get it out of the way, you kind of have an idea of where you are, what you need to work on, and take it a day at a time. I don't want to preempt anything. I want to focus on the rounds and each day and attack those and just, give it my all.
Right, and personally, what do you want to get out of this?
Personally, what I want to get out of it? What I mean? I wouldn't be here if I...
many,
I
but your ultimate goal.
My ultimate goal is to stand on the podium, of course. 2007 when I started my career, it was actually in Japan, and I think at that time I was 19, unsure of who I was, what I was doing, the direction I was going in, and fast forward to being here in this moment, I know who I am, very, very capable, individual, and trusting that God has more for me. So I think in this moment, I want to stand on the podium. That's just it. But at the same time, whatever happens, I'm walking away feeling confident and happy for all that I've achieved, because I'm sure if you would have put me being here at this point, a lot of persons would have thought this wouldn't be possible. So I have already, I think, over-exceeded my own expectations or anybody else's expectations. So, really grateful to be here.
How strategic was it, your approach?
It had to be, again, I am not, I don't want to use young, I'm young, but I'm not young. So I had to approach it a little different. Last year was a very hard year for me, physically and mentally. And then this year I knew, okay, then what I knew, you're paying attention to what's happening. So, okay, then I need to be top 3 and I had to be strategic about it. And I think what works for me is the fact that I've been doing this for a long time. I know what it is to be championship ready, and I know when game day is game day. And you kind of use your experiences to kind of propel you forward. So I think that's what I did this season. I didn't focus too much on the times, but really focus on the execution and making sure that I cemented my place on the team, which was the most important thing. Once I got on the team, then all will be good.
You have delivered on the track. You have grown in stature off the track.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that voice that you have developed over the years? How big a part of your personality is that for you?
It's big because I think sometimes we have to have individuals who advocate for us. And, I remember when I just started, I didn't know how to advocate for myself because I didn't want persons to think a certain way. And what I've learned throughout my career is people are going to talk regardless. You can't please everybody, and only you know what you are going through, only you know what you can do, and for me, I think it's important to always echo advocacy for athletes who are coming up, so they too will make better decisions and they too will have a voice and say what's on their mind, because if you don't say it today, you may not get the chance to say it tomorrow. And you can't worry too much about what people think or what, how it looks, as long as your intentions are good. And you just have to, they say track is for a time, and I think I said this to my husband last time when we were talking. I said, man, time fly. Like, I just started, and it just gone. And, there are moments that you wish you could change some things, but you can't change it, but you have learned from it. And I think for me, I've always been grateful for God, because I think that He says that all things work together for your good. And every decision, every, race that I've lost or I lost couple championship, I've always worked for my good. So I think ultimately it's just for the advocacy and teaching young athletes to say what you want and be confident in who you are, and understand that track and field is for a time, and you just have to stand in your power on the track and off the track.
Fair to presume that advocacy is a part of your future?
Advocacy is always a part of the future. Track and field has been good to me. It has given me a lot of things. I know a lot of persons say, boy, sometimes track can be ungrateful. I mean, we will have the moments where you're disappointed for many, many different reasons. But I think advocacy is always in the future and always a part of what you do, because you have been given a platform for that very reason. And I know sometimes people don't want to take it on, but if you don't do it, who's going to do it? So for me, definitely the future is bright, and I look forward to, doing more for the sport and, off the track businesses. But I'm excited about the next chapter. I really am. As I said before, I don't want to really zone in on what this all means, but I think tomorrow when I step on the track, I'm not just stepping on the track just for me. It's for my son who is here. And I can tell you, by the way, my son is my harshest critic. He said, Mommy, no more fourth place. So it's not just for me, it's for my son, it's for everyone, it's for all of Jamaica, it's for every single person that has been riding with me since forever. And I remember when I just started, I don't want to bring it up, but I remember when I just started where persons were like, take her off the team, she's too young, she's inexperienced, to being here in this moment. So, for every single person that's chasing a dream or a goal, and you feel like, all right, you're stuck, you don't know where to go, just continue to believe that there's more. And ultimately, you get to decide when, where, and how. Nobody gets to decide that for you. So when I step on the track, I'm stepping on that track with all of that, being mindful and celebrating the moment, the history, and everything. And I'm excited about it. I really am. I'll have my game face tomorrow, but I'm excited, really, really excited about the opportunity.
In July of 2022, the Jamaica Observer, on its headline, said that she was the greatest. And I tell you what, not a lot of us would disagree with what was said on that day after she struck gold in the 100 meters at those World Championships. I mean, you look at her legacy, Leighton, and obviously we are so proud, but what stands out for you in terms of the individual? Because she represents track well, but she's also such a wonderful ambassador, I think.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I like about Shelly's career, as you alluded to, is not just what she's done on the track, it's the influence that she's had off it. When you hear people from countries across the world, there was a recent reel where you had two young ladies talking about how Shelly has inspired them. They're not Jamaicans. They're not Caribbean people either. I've talked to people in Europe. I've talked to people in the United States, in the Caribbean. They all adore her. She inspires them. So that for me is a big part of her legacy. But going back to the track though, Donald, I mean, when you look at what Shelly's done, there's been this debate for years about who is the greatest female sprinter of all time. For me, there can be no other. Right? There is an argument about Elaine.
And that's not to take away from any other
No, it's not taking
female
away.
athlete,
Yeah,
because I think sometimes people struggle with that. It's like saying, oh, she's great. And you they think it dismisses,
The other
she
person.
too is,
And
no.
Jamaicans tend to do that
Yeah,
too.
it's not a
It's not
zero-sum
like
game.
that. It's not like
Right?
that
Because
at all.
take, for example, Elaine. Elaine has a double-double. Nobody else has ever done that. Right? But what Shelly's legacy is not just the performances. It's the length, the duration of those performances. Remember, Shelly started in 2017 as a member of the 4x1 team. And here she is 18 years later. 18 years later. How many track and field careers have lasted that long with that amount of success?
So she's like LeBron, but with more silverware.
A lot more silverware.
Hey. Easy on the
I just had to
LeBron.
throw that one in there. But
Easy on the LeBron joke.
Daniel, what do you think about Shelly's legacy, though?
My name started crying now.
She's
his favorite.
He's looking a little bit emotional.
Yeah,
can I tell you?
she's his
But
absolute
I'm not going to
favorite.
rub it the wrong way because, to be honest, I was emotionally even listening to that interview and what she had to say because she has touched our lives in so many different ways.
Yeah, especially being a Wilmarian, it really impacts you. a little
Wilma's
bit more.
boys, you went to just to clarify.
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool.
It
Go ahead.
couldn't be the other side. But I think it's just so special because I feel like we've grown up with her. And I don't think we've done that with any other athlete. We saw her fresh out of university, and now we see her as a mother of one, and just seeing her growth and her sustained success. I think if she had a few off years, then it probably wouldn't feel like this. But every single year she competed, she's basically been on the podium. And aside from, having Zion that year, she probably would have had, more silverware. So I think it's just amazing to see that she has consistently pushed herself despite having nothing else to prove. She has constantly upped herself each and every year. And I think she's an inspiration, not just to athletes in general, but to everybody, knowing that we can continue to do it no matter our age or stage or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Let me just bring something here because a lot of people don't understand how great Shelly-Ann has been, except for the years when she was pregnant and of
the
course,
toe
and
injury.
recovering
Well, she
from.
still had the medal in 2016.
She's been on the podium every single championships bar last year and in 2011,
Yeah.
in an individual event I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Because she was fourth in Dago in 2011.
Yeah.
And of course, last year in Tokyo, she missed the final, which is the first time she's ever missed a final.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a legacy where the consistency is unmatched. And she said something in that interview where, I remember back in 2008, I remember because I was actually and I was on the cycle track when that happened. When Veronica came fourth, Shelly was second behind Karen Stewart,
Yes.
and Sharon Simpson was third. And people were saying, boy, take out the little young girl because nobody don't know what she can
do
win.
or-
Yeah.
And she alluded
Jamaica
to it.
was
She alluded to it
upset.
in an interview. And I remember calling her on the phone in Italy because I left for Italy shortly thereafter. And I got a number from MVP and spoke to her in Italy. I remember in very soft tones. Okay, you could barely hear her on the phone. And she was saying that she was going to use it as motivation. And she alluded to it here in that interview, where she's talking about it 17 years later, which tells you that it still fuels her after all this time.
And you need that sometimes, if we're being honest, in sports. And which as a nation, we're spoiled. And I think from Merlene days, Juliet Cuthbert, now Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, and all others. I think, since then, they have been, we have been spoiled for success, and we want more. As well as just in general as a nation, we like stick to the evil where we know.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. And that's not just with sports. And I think, I always like to say, we don't always get it right in terms of our choice of words. But we have to be mindful because they walk with it. They do walk with it. And I forever, make mention of Peter Gay Dowie. Dowdy with that incident.
Back
And,
in
if you were to sit her down and talk to her, she maybe would break down in tears.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about that camp, but also the Jamaican people, because we were really on the side of, who want the queen, Merlene Ottey. So, Shelly, Peter Gay Dowdy, there are others as well, would have fall into that category of, we want to stick to the evil where we know versus giving an opportunity to someone else, a newcomer who have earned, a lot of times they do earn their spot.
Speaking of newcomer, Tina Clayton, right? She's going to be in action in the 100 meters because we're going to be looking at the 100 meters and the legacy she's trying to create as well. She's going to be in Heat 2 with Dina Asher-Smith, 5:02 a.m. on Saturday. I mean, I have observed Tina and her twin Tia, the sequence of events in terms of who leads the way and then who follows up, right? Tia did well, of course, in Paris, reaching the final and performing. But Tina is the one that always follows up her sister. We saw it during high school.
Yeah.
Tia was the youngest 15-year-old in the world for about, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then after that, Tina came and then followed up. And we see that trend at the senior level. Is this now Tina's time?
Well, it seems that we're 10-1. She just ahead of Tia now 10-2. So you're looking at a situation where I think her experience as a two-time world under-20 champion, as somebody who has won a national title now, in the footsteps of her sister who won national title last year, and the experience, because look, they are twins, and they share these experiences not just, from a physical level, but certainly from
emotional
their
as
connection.
well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think what happened to Tia last year in Paris, I think Tina now learns from that. Will become be better from that experience as well. So I think that's one of the reasons why I pick her to be on the podium, because I think going back to Shelly, back in 2008, Shelly ran 10-2 at national championships, and then 10-78 in Beijing. Sorry, I think we can expect something similar from Tina in Tokyo this year. That's what I think. And if she does that, then she's certainly on the podium.
You think so?
I think it's a tough race, first and foremost. And what I know for sure, whether it be the twin or Shericka, I am one to never discredit Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. I think that would be very rude of me. Despite her age, I think that we are here having this discussion about the passing of the baton. And can she get on the podium? I think she's very much capable of. What time will she run to get there? We don't know. And we don't care. We just want her on the podium. I would even love if she spring a surprise, because we follow the sport. We can't be like the rest of Jamaicans and say, yeah, man, she'll go win.
No.
It's possible.
Yeah,
it's
obviously.
really possible. The probability of her winning is just as good, similar to that of Julian Alfred and Melissa. But like I said, for me, the fact that we are passing a baton with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at 38 years old in her last championships. Shericka Jackson battling injuries, especially last season, which forced her out of Paris Olympic Games. She's back now with another opportunity to get onto the podium in the women's 100 meters. I think that we are in good standing, and for me, that really makes me happy, because God forbid we have to sit down here and watch other people win the medal.
Yeah,
win, you know. So for me,
crazy.
I don't care where on the podium she is, and if she's to get on there, I just want one of the women on there. Matter of fact,
Yeah, but
you know.
as you said, we've been spoiled enough, right?
Yeah, man.
Because you're looking at between Shelly and Shericka and Elaine, Jamaica's women have dominated the sprints at global championships for almost the last 20 years. 2023 was an aberration in a sense, because Tori Bowie actually won 2017, was it?
Yes, it was.
And then now
Sha'Carri
won in 2023.
Yeah, she just snuck out on the outside in lane 8.
But in between, I mean, on the bookends of both of those performances were Shelly, Ilian, Shericka. Yes.
But then isn't this like in the wheelhouse of Stephen Francis for Tina Clayton to just at this age just come up and just bring a surprise? And how much of a surprise would that be?
I don't think it would be a surprise.
I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but it would definitely be a very good feeling to know that last year missing out, seeing her sister, and then coming into these championships and then not only getting on the podium but even winning gold. She would definitely prove that what Stephen Francis has been doing is continuously successful, because there were people at a point who said, you know, he could only do it with Shelly, Elaine, and Shericka, but he's doing it now with the Clayton twins. I think that Tina has more of an advantage than Tia, because, you know, both of them are now in Tokyo. And if you heard what she said after the trials, it's almost like, yeah, I won, but my sister is not with me.
Right.
I feel now that both of them are there, even though Tia won't be running an individual event because of Julian Alfred. There will be that motivation that they will be training together, I assume that they're rooming together, and that they have that twin connection. So I think it will be more mental than anything, even though Jefferson Wooden and Julian Alfred seem to be like the overwhelming favorites to be the top two, but Stephen Francis has proven time and time again that he knows how to produce winners.
We're going to talk about those outsiders. Should I even call them outsiders? Who knows? But, you know,
well, it depends.
In just a little while. But I really want to know what you guys have heard in regards to Shericka. And she's an unknown entity this season.
Shericka?
Yes.
For me, I find that to be very disrespectful. Let me tell you something. Since that girl has been at very technical, no, it's just a real thing.
No, hold on.
She's
this
a super.
Season,
Listen,
I don't mean in life,
not about just,
I mean this
listen,
season.
But she has proven that she has, slowly but surely she has gotten there.
Physically. She's at her prime.
And for me, I will leave you, Leighton, and Daniel, and the rest of those who will watch to discuss the times. We not discuss times. Stephen Francis not even discuss times.
All right, cool.
You have to show up and you have to run.
Not a problem.
No time to win medal, you know.
Really?
Well, if that was the case. No, in the sense of the times going in, right? Because I think that, and I think I said it to Leighton and also Daniel before we started that, for example, Usain's record, 9.58. The second fastest man alive is still Johan Blake with 9.69. Yes or no? We have seen Noah Lyles, fantastic athlete. Kishane, I think, is capable also of running a fast time. But yet, none of the men, for example, and the women have gone that much faster in a final. I'm not talking about overall.
Right.
In a final. So the rounds do take a toll. The mental fortitude to come out in a final. People think it's easy. You're at the line. Everything you have worked for all season is on the line. Your contract on the line. Relay medals doesn't count whenever you go to when your agent step forward to negotiate. Oh, she's a medal winner. They don't care. So for me, I think time and time again with Shericka, I think this is the worst we have seen her in terms of injuries. Would have set her back last season.
With me then?
Me never say me not disagree, but me I say it's disrespectful for people like one counter her for the podium.
No, I never got to her. No,
she's primed for success.
You think so?
Yeah, I think she is.
Okay.
I'm.
Yeah.
No,
you see?
No,
me alone.
No. Here's how I see this.
Sure.
Shericka of 2023 is not the Shericka that I've seen run this season, right? And all credit to what she's accomplished before, because I think she's she's the second best combination sprinter in history, behind Marita Cock, I think it is number one all time.
Yeah.
Shericka's the only woman to have won
400
100 medals, 200 medals, and 400 medals at the global championships.
Right.
So, we're not talking about her credentials. Her credentials are undeniable. But when I watch her this season, I am wondering whether or not, having pushed the envelope in 2022 and 2023, 21-4, no other woman has run 21-4 as often as Shericka Jackson. And the 1065s. And the injuries of last year, whether or not that has taken us something out of her. Because even in the races that she's the one, like 22-17, the last race, that 200 that she won, she was struggling to hold off Brittany Brown. These are people that she used to dismiss with comfort. So on the evidence, I'm not saying what I'm coaching this to say, on the evidence of what we've seen so far this year, she's become immortal again. Where she used to be godlike in 2022 and 2023, I think she's more mortal this year than ever before. I don't know if that's a consequence of the injuries or lingering injuries that we're not aware of, because one of the things that she did say at the national championships was that a couple of weeks before that she wasn't sure she was even going to run.
Yeah, she said she wasn't sure, and she also went and spoke to her called her doctor, did some mental prep up.
And she still ran 1088. So, you can't discredit her.
Right.
But when you look on the evidence, you can only talk about what you have in front of you in terms of the data that you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Based on the data you have in front of you, I don't see her being
she's
on the
vulnerable to.
I don't see her being on the podium in the 100.
Well, at the risk of ticking off Trishana, Daniel, please proceed.
What I will say is her biggest hurdle is the mental side. And I think after going through what she went through last year, you heard her in her interviews this year, she saying that, she's back and she's healthy. We know that physically she is. Mentally, to go through that, I think is probably the biggest thing, because in Budapest, even though Sha'Carri won, Shericka ran 10-7. You can't get better than that in most 100-meter finals. Even last year, she did 10.84 prior to the injury, and she's already done 10.88. So, to Leighton's point, to jump from the godlike status to, the quote-unquote mortal, a lot of that has to do with the mental side, right? So now you are thinking that you are on that level, and also you don't want to push yourself to such a way where that injury comes back. So there's that bit of trauma in the back of your head.
Sure.
So I think that if she does get over that, I think that she's not only the favorite out of the three women that we have to get on the podium, but to even beat Alfred and Jefferson Wooden, because her peak physical shape, she can do 10-6 easily.
Okay, well, let's talk about the two a bit. Julian Alfred, of course, will be running in Heat 4 at 5:16 on Saturday morning. And Melissa Jefferson Wooden out of the United States will be in Heat 1. She's starting all the proceedings at 4:55 a.m. I mean, they're the obvious favorites. Spoilers from a Jamaican perspective, right? I mean,
you're not looking very happy.
I think if we weren't Jamaicans, we would sit here and tell you it is either Jefferson Wooden or Julian Alfred.
Right.
And if we weren't Jamaicans,
but there's an optimism that we have that our Jamaicans will spoil the party.
It's
but
a delusion.
I wouldn't say it's delusion.
It's not delusion.
Because our athletes have shown time and time again that they can compete with the very best. They can go the 10-6 and 10-7s. We all know that they have their different factors that they've been dealing with, which we've spoken about. But Jefferson Wooden right now is a walking 10-7, at best 10-6. Julian Alfred, who took 5 weeks off, comes to the Diamond final and takes the wild spot from Tia, who literally ran 10.81. Like you can't go any faster than that. So it's like, all right, how do you stop them? Because if they are at their best, even if they're just off slightly, it is still hard to not see them as the top two.
So we're servicing bronze then.
Yeah, I think in real terms, I mean, I say you can only go after the data you have in front of you.
Yeah.
And in terms of what we've seen all season long, from Melissa Jefferson 1065, one of those 10-6s are running virtually still conditions. So if she had a wind behind her, you're looking at 10-5. You've seen Julian Alfred run 1079 in a minus 1.4 wind. These women are on a different level right now. They were like Shelly back in 2022 or Elaine back in 2021. That's the level that they're at right now. So you're looking at a situation where these two women they're pretty much cloistered off themselves from the rest of the world. So for anybody to break them up in terms of gold or silver, whoever wins or whoever comes second, to see someone splitting them right now is impractical. Actually.
Fine. So let's go to the men's side, where a lot of people believe that Jamaica has a better chance of getting the gold medal. We're talking about two individuals in particular, like Shane Thompson and Oblique Seville.
Yeah, man.
Can we even choose between them?
Yeah, man. We have it, man. We have it.
But can you choose between them?
Can we?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
And like
alphabetical order. That is that the way?
No, and I think like Leighton said, we use data. This has nothing to do with how we feel, right? In our line of business, we try to remove the emotions as best as possible. Now, Kishane barely missed that gold medal last season. Barely. And when I sit here and look in the camera and say barely, the Jamaicans, them enough out there say, him win the goal. With that said, Oblique Seville, I think that, again, we're seeing him with the confidence and being back at the best. And if he can maintain that, I still believe that I still have him as the runner-up.
Yeah,
I still have him as the runner-up because he has not proven completely that coming to that last part of the race, that he can do enough to win. Will this be the season? I would lovely take whichever one of them win the gold. Me happy, I just want the gold. This is where I'm claiming me want the gold medal there.
Yeah.
But
anything else would have been uncivilized.
Boy, anything else, me go be ball. I'm kidding. No, but for me, it's tough to choose, and I'm happy that we're back in this position to speak about our male sprinters first and foremost. Yes. But because Kishane, I think he's still so raw. Last season was his first complete season and just barely missing that gold medal. I think himself and Stephen Francis would have done their homework, and like him say, he might not need for dip, but he just might need to. And I think that, I have him just edging Oblique a little bit.
I have the other way around.
You have the other way around.
And that's fine. Like, I'm glad someone can have the convo here.
Because what she said is right,
Which part?
The
latter part of the race.
But that's where I think Kishane's weakness is.
Both of them?
Not really.
Really?
I actually studied the data on this the last few weeks.
Okay.
Kishane hits his top speed earlier than Kishane
than Oblique.
Yes.
Okay.
Who continues to accelerate even while Kishane is plateauing in terms of his speed.
Right.
If Oblique gets a start like similar to the one that he got in the sun and can match Kishane to the first 60, he wins because his closing speed is more consistent than Kishane's. Give you an example. When Kishane beat Laurel in Celestia, you realized that how much Noah closed on him at the end of the race. Look at the two races that Noah lost to Oblique. He did not close any.
Even last season, when at the meet, the Racers Grand Prix, was it Racers Grand Prix last season? Or Jamaica?
No, it did not close.
Oh. I mean, mind you, once he gets into that full acceleration, once he's out of that dry phase and in a full blown acceleration, Oblique, oh my gosh, he's a beauty to watch with his height and his build.
He's better this year at both phases. I think where Oblique's weakness is his injury issues and the cloud that hangs over his head as handling the big moments. That's the cloud, and it will not go away until he ends up on the podium.
Right.
Kishane's weakness is his last 30. Noah's last weakness is his first 30.
Yeah.
So each of them have significant weaknesses going into, and of course you can't overlook Kenny Bednarek. The thing about it is that when you look at what has happened so far this season, and I've studied the times and I've studied the splits, the only the best opportunity that Oblique has to win is to match Kishian in the first 30. If he's able to do that, I think he wins.
So you have the decider. Who's winning?
I think Kishian and Oblique have the decider. But I'm glad that Leighton even brought up those stats, because I think that's one of the reasons why Kishian had run so much in July into August, is because I think Stephen Francis wanted him to perfect his race. He didn't want him to necessarily go fast and run any 9.7 or any 9.6. Let me see what you have. And I think that's even why he even started him so early this year with the 60 meters, because he wanted his start to be so good, because he knew that the last 30, 40 meters he might falter off. So let's get that 60 meters perfect and let's work on it throughout the season. So I do think that he is still a little bit raw. He still needs to work on the last 30. But I think the mere fact that he is that raw, it almost shows me, or in my feeling, that once he gets to that 60, 70 meter mark, that he might be so far ahead of everybody else. Now, I know that might sound a little ridiculous, but I think if the conditions are right, I see him going very low 9.6 or even 9.5. Just because I think that there are a lot of races where, like Asafa used to do, it looked like he wasn't trying and he's running 9.7.
That's what he needs to do. He needs to relax.
Exactly. For Oblique, I think it's just the mental side of it. We know that he can run 9.7, but when you have that tag of being the fourth place over and over again, or just missing the podium, it does something to you. As great as an athlete as you are, and then you have the likes of Noah Lyles, Tebogo, and even Kenny Bednarek, who has improved massively this season in the 100. So once he's able to get over that hurdle, that 1-2 should be pretty secure.
So Noah not going to...
I never said the 1-2, you know. I answered the question. Only look for me when I talk. I don't want no bagger with these men. You ask me about the goal. I'm tell you something, I want the gold medal.
Right.
No! If we're going to have discussion about the race, the final, what to expect. I am not discrediting the young man, either of them, Kenny or Noah, because time and time again, Noah proven to us say, "You don't rate me."
He is a fly in the soup.
No, he's not a fly.
No.
He is the soup.
He is the soup. No, I'm making the Noah say.
And he must say soup.
Right?
Listen.
I'm making the Noah say. You see, when it comes to the final, and me run things.
One thing with
Heats
Noah
and
Lyles,
semis, you can't do all the talking and the make nice. I'm afraid of that.
A lot of people don't like him for whatever reason. Sometimes he says things that rub people the wrong way.
We know the reason.
But the reality is this. Noah Lyles backs up his talk.
Yes, he does.
Nobody.
And that I'm afraid of.
Nobody can dispute that.
I'm nervous about that.
No.
So, like me say, when he asked me the first question, you know, my answer about the gold medal.
Yes.
But then now, if you're going to put the entire race in a context, it make me nervous, man. I'm not like that.
If he gets a proper start,
We're in trouble.
everybody's in trouble. The fact is that the mentality of Noah Lyles is that he goes into races thinking, I am winning this.
And based on proof, he has a better mentality than the rest of the
Than the entire world. He goes into races. He does not think, can I win this? He says, I am going to win this. And that's different from somebody else who goes in and saying, can I win this? Or what do I need to do to win this? No one else goes in and says, look, all I need to do is execute, the phase is right, and I win. And that's the difference.
And if he doesn't, then that's that. But he's not thinking of that.
And I think one thing that gave him an advantage as well was going into those races with Oblique, even though he knew himself he wasn't at 100%. So it's almost like he was looking at the competition and saying, well, yeah, I lost, but all right, I see where you are and I know where I need to get
fix.
to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the scary thing about him, is that once he hits that 50 meters and just accelerates, you can't rule him out.
You all saw what he did to Kenny at the trials, not being 100% and started training late.
Yeah.
I'm not like that for you.
That's
but
insane.
with that said, I still think that we can get that gold medal.
And to use another example as well, even the race that he beat Tebogo,
Yeah.
He just pulled up next to him and he's like, okay, you're dead. Because this is how he is. That's his mentality. The only other person I've seen with that mentality in the last generation is the greatest of all time. Superhuman, the man who's on that poster right here.
You know, Usain Bolt.
Usain went into races thinking, okay, what time am I going to run because nobody else can beat me.
Yeah, he relished that more those
So
moments.
action gets underway on Friday, right? And I think the first athlete, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Samantha Hall.
Yeah, she does the discus.
At 8:40, the women's discus group B. I want to know what you guys think about the mixed relays because Daniel, you have something to say?
I actually don't have. I think this is one event every Jamaican should just watch. Don't have any expectations. The technical team over the years has proven to us that the 4x4 mixed relays does not matter. We're just going to find 2 men and 2 women who to run it. If you get on the podium, fine. If you don't, But do not have any expectations for the mixed relay. If we win, celebrate. But if we don't, it's another day.
While I agree, I think this time around, Leighton, I think you'll agree with me. I get what Daniel is saying because, again, we're going to go by proven things, isn't it? But I think this time just might be different. I think we have a...
We say that every year.
No, man. I think we have a very good quartet that we can send up for both heats and finals.
Yeah, look.
And we stand a chance of maybe walking away with the bronze or finishing better than we have ever done before.
You have Bovell McPherson and
Javon Powell.
Right. And you have Leah Anderson and Rodisha McGregor. It's a team that's better than the 311 that Jamaica has run before, goes into these championships with. And I think if they put the team... Look, when I spoke to Derek Atkins earlier this year about Leah Anderson, he said that he wanted her to run 50.5 or a little bit faster at trials. Mm-hmm. She runs 50.78, which means that she's in good shape. And she's a lot more confident than she's been before because she's building towards something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think this is an opportunity for her to prove herself as being among the elite Jamaicans. Jamaican quarter-mile women. So I think the world leading time I think is 307. Mm-hmm. I think Jamaica can run get 309. If 309, they run 309, they'll be competitive. They won't necessarily medal, but I think they'll be competitive.
So they're in the heat with Great Britain and the United States of America. So it's left to be seen as to what takes place.
So you see, when you say it like that, don't do that. You can't receive the. So that means the technical team have to send out the team like a final.
No. I think they're like the 5th fastest team in their heat.
So the heat, which is the final, takes place at 9:40 Friday evening, and then the final, which is the final, takes place at 8:40 on Saturday. We're good? All right, here we go. We have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, but Donald, you see when you talk about Jamaica 4x4 mix,
yes,
we can't leave it to chance, you know. Am I wrong? Daniel, am I wrong? We can't leave it to chance.
I think they just leave it. That's the problem.
I think what will happen with this team is I think they'll probably set a season's best.
Oh, that's nice. 6th. Anyway, having said that, Akeelia Smith, quick word on her because she's going to be in the women's long jump Group A.
I spoke to her earlier this year. One of the things that she told me this year that was instructive was that when she was in college at Texas, where she won NCAA titles in her last season, was about getting points.
Right.
She said being pro is so different because now it's about the finer details of getting the jump right. And I think that's her biggest challenge now. But this is her first year as a pro. She's going to have to jump somewhere about 690. She jumped 710 before. She's going to have to jump somewhere about 690 to be in the argument for medals because Pacino, who, by the way, is grandparents are Jamaican. Tara with Davis Woodall and Mihambo from Germany, I think, are the women to beat. And of course, there you have Kapacha and a few other girls from England. But the thing is that it's a competitive field. So if she's going to be thinking about a medal, I think she's going to have to jump 690.
I just want her to get to the final, though.
Yeah, but I think she should.
Yeah, she should be able to.
So the qualification takes place 4:30 a.m. on Saturday. Adele Tracy.
Adele's coming off of that injury from last year.
You just interrupt Daniel.
Oh, no.
Make a prominent speech.
No, not prominent. But I think I think it will be very difficult for Adele. 111 women have gone faster than her
Yeah.
this year. Her 4.
Hold on, this year? I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about in history.
No,
No, man.
This
This
year.
year?
No,
her-
she's been off this year.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then their season's best, her 4:06 was done in April, I believe.
Yeah.
So she's been trying to get to that. She came to the national championships, didn't quite reach where she wanted to. So I think right now she's probably just using it to maybe prepare for the 8, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Prepare for the what?
800
Yeah, but she's in the
Oh.
800, the 850.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
think, I don't know, she had that bad injury last year. She ran in Paris with that injury last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was walking around in a boot just a few weeks before the Olympics. And of course, after the Olympics, sorry. And when I spoke to her early in the year, and of course, again at trials, you got the sense that she was trying to gradually progress.
Mhm.
and run
towards-
herself into shape.
Yeah, but I don't see it happening.
All right.
It's not
Yeah.
happening.
We're for wrap up now, but I just want to know your predictions as to how many medals you think you're going to win this time around.
I think between 6 and 10.
6 and 10. All right. Trish?
I think we're somewhere between 10 to 12 on a good day.
We have an
In the
entire
set,
week
no,
and-
as in
Everything
whenever
goes right.
each day, whenever we contest a final, the more medals we rack up. I think if some of those events go according to plan, especially the men's 100 meters, if we get the double,
Oh.
whichever double,
It
I'm
adult.
not going to be greedy. I really want the gold. I think we should. I don't see us passing 12 medals though.
Daniel?
I think the practical and safe prediction is to say 8. I think if you're an optimist, you go 16.
I'm sorry?
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I would say to an optimist as well.
16.
16.
We barely have 16 athletes. What do you mean? Who is
I-
getting 16?
I'm an optimist, but
Yeah.
16 is a lot.
So if you
Who is the surprise? Or in this case, who are the surprises is?
all right, so in the safe prediction,
Right.
you would have the individual men's and women's 100 and 4x1. So you'll say that you get 1 in each. So that's 4.
Right.
I think Shericka is a walking medal in the triple jump.
Okay.
I think the women's 4x4, the women's 200 with Shericka, and I know I'm missing something, but I think those are at least safe 7. I think then you can add maybe an extra medal to each of the individual men's men's and women's 100.
Right.
You add Brian Lavelle in the 200. You add Jordan Scott in the triple jump. You add
wow.
Ralford Mullings in the discus throw. You add maybe the men's 4x4 because this would be our strongest 4x4 team. That's what I'm saying. So from a very optimistic standpoint, you can look at that. But I think you are safe with between 7, 8.
Okay, I could stick with that one day.
What, 7, 8?
Yeah.
Then you're shaking your head like...
No, I said 6 to 10. So, I mean...
Yeah. I say I don't see us passing 12.
Yeah, because how I see it, I see two in the men's 100, 1 in the women's 100, 1 in the women's 200, and 1 in the men's 200. So that's 5.
Right.
All right.
The
I
relays.
see Ralford Mullings winning a medal in the discus, and then
Relays.
3 other 4 relays. So that's 9. But everything has to go right for that to happen.
And the women's 100 hurdles, either Akira or Daniel.
Yeah, that's one that's very tricky for
So
me.
what about Megan? But anyhow, yeah, you get the point.
Yeah, oh, okay. Well, that's all the time we have. It's been a wonderful first discussion. I'm looking forward to the rest of these championships with you lovely people. It's been an absolute pleasure. Daniel, Trish, Leighton, we're going to get some gold medals, I think, this year.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm Donald Oliver signing out for the final time. It's been wonderful here on this podcast. So join us same time roughly every day. In the afternoon, we'll be uploading it. And wherever you watch your podcast or listen to your podcast, you can join that as well. But it's goodbye for now.